2020 keeps on throwing those punches. Well, so far this year, the U.S. had $10 billion worth of weather-related disasters, setting a new record. As RT's Alex Mihailovich tells us, this has not only hurt the nation physically, but also financially.
From hurricanes in the Gulf to wildfires on the West Coast. When it comes to the U.S., 2020 has been unforgiving beyond the coronavirus. In terms of wildfires, which have primarily hit California and Oregon, more than 30 people have been killed, thousands of structures have been destroyed, and over 5 million acres scorched. Many are blaming climate change.
We're in the midst of a climate emergency. We're in the midst of a climate crisis. We are experiencing weather conditions the likes of which we've never experienced in our lifetime. We're experiencing what so many people predicted decades and decades ago, but all of that now is reality.
Breaking previous records, this year the United States hit its $10th billion weather disaster earlier than any other year. Aside from the devastating fires, this year multiple storms have ripped through the U.S., leaving a path of destruction in their wake. 7 of the occurrences happened in the south and southeast, 3 of which included tornadoes. An outbreak on Easter Sunday saw 190 tornadoes in the region, killing 36 people. The storms made 2020 the 6th consecutive year with at least 10 extreme weather events. And it's not over yet.
It's 2020. What can you do?
The answer? Not much for the average individual, other than preparing both physically.
Have your prescription medications with you, ready to go. All your personal belongings that can easily be accessible and ready to go.
And financially. Being ready can help. One way to do that is anticipating an insurance claim in advance. People are being told to do the following to ease the process. Take photos of your house, both inside and outside, and your belongings, both before and after a storm or other disaster. And create a written record of your valuables. Having proof can help avoid issues or even denials during the claim process with an insurance company. It is also important to review your insurance coverage so you know what the insurer expects if you need to file a claim, and it also helps you avoid any surprises. Climbing up the ladder from households to the nation as a whole, the weather is also doing a number on the U.S. economy. Hurricanes such as Katrina and Harvey cost well over the $100 billion mark, while Maria, Sandy, and Irma were in the tens of billions, numbers we are likely to see again this year. Some estimate that just the wildfires in 2018 cost the U.S. over $20 billion. Looking forward, things do not look promising. A report commissioned by federal regulators earlier this month concluded that climate change posed a growing threat to the U.S. financial markets. As natural disasters spread, so did the cost to the insurance industry, mortgage markets, pension funds, and financial institutions. Add that to the fact that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says that we can expect more disasters this year. It's easy to see. 2020 isn't done with dishing it out just yet. For Boom Bust, I'm Alex Mihailovich.
For more, we welcome Director of Corporate Communications with the Insurance Information Institute, Mark Friedlander. Mark, thank you for joining us today. We just heard what Alex reported. What kind of increases are we really looking at here?
Well, we knew coming into this hurricane season, Sarah, it was going to be at a well above average season. Every meteorologist talked about that, every forecaster, and we are seeing it come to reality. We've already exhausted the entire list of hurricane names from the National Hurricane Center. We're now into the Greek alphabet, which has only happened once before in history. In 2005, we're on beta already. So we clearly are seeing a record-setting year in terms of number of storms. Fortunately, though, we have not seen storms at the level you showed on your chart a few minutes ago of those mass losses. We haven't come to that level yet, which is a good thing for everybody involved.
Well, let's look at the stimulus here. What are some of the most significant ways COVID-19 has also affected your members? I mean, job markets have been affected severely, but with many banks choosing to put mortgages on moratorium, the house market is actually relatively steady. Are your members choosing to forego their rates or payments at this time?
Well, insurers took a lot of important steps to help consumers, help their customers cope with the financial difficulties of COVID-19 and the pandemic. One of the biggest things was auto insurers gave back $14 billion in premium to auto customers. That was both in cash refunds as well as credits to accounts, very substantial. And then one of the largest insurers in the U.S. auto insurers is in the process of getting rate reductions approved by regulators in each state across the country, once again, to help their customers cope with the financial difficulties of the pandemic.
Well, the coronavirus, it's obviously changing the economic landscape, right? What are we going to see in the future? Are houses now going to no longer be protected?
Well, first of all, if you have a mortgage, you have to have homeowners coverage. And if you live in a hurricane-prone state, which are all the coastal states, the Atlantic coast and the Gulf Coast states, you have to have windstorm coverage if you have a mortgage. And we see roughly 91% of all homeowners across the U.S. have insurance coverage. The 9% that don't, they have paid off their mortgage most likely. And it's very risky, though. Even if you paid off your mortgage, do you want to be unprotected financially? And we really strongly suggest every homeowner, whether it's required or not, to have homeowners coverage so you are financially protected, because the loss could just be devastating. You could lose your entire house, and if you don't have the insurance to help rebuild that, it's going to be a lifetime impact.
Well, and many are saying, Mark, FEMA established this flood insurance rate map where homes are actually going to be rated dependent on their flood risks. Are we going to see changes in this at all?
Yeah, FEMA is actually going through a whole process now of re-rating. But one of the things that we stress is don't just rely on what the FEMA maps say. We recommend every homeowner across the country gets flood insurance, and here's why. 90% of natural disasters in the U.S. involve flooding. We saw with the hurricane last week, Hurricane Sally, while there was significant flooding right along the coast in both Florida and Alabama, you go inland and there was significant flash flooding in inland counties as well. And according to our data, the take-up rate of flood insurance in those inland counties is only about 1%, meaning 99% of the
they're not prepared for this,
are not protected.
Especially with all this. Mark Friedlander, thank you so much for being with us today. It was a pleasure having you.